welcome to our weekly video at MVP. Today we're going to talk a little bit about gapping and our wedge game. So, you know, at least 75% of our game is played within 100 metres of the green. So a lot of our customers here at MVP, I find, don't carry the right amount of wedges, or don't have the right, or they've got a bit of a gap in there. For example, our pitching wedge in our set, depending on what company we buy from, but in this case it's a PSI tailor-made pitching wedge, which is about 46-47 degrees loft. Now, for example, I would hit that pitching wedge about 115 metres, and then I would go to a normal set. The next club in the bag will be a 56 degree sand wedge. So there's a good 10 degree gap there. So for example, I hit my sand iron, 56 sand iron, about 85 metres, and my pitching wedge 115 metres. So there's a 30 metre gap there. So what I really need to put in my bag to cover that gap for me to hit a normal shot would be something in between that, say 50, 51 or a 52. In this case it's a Titleist sand iron, so that's a 50, but we can also bend that to 51 or 52 degrees to get that right gap, because most of your clubs in your bag will, starting from 3, 4 or 5 iron, whichever your set consists of, will have generally 4 degree increments all the way through to your pitching wedge, and then you can split it between 4 or 5 degree increments from there if you can, just so it's all level throughout your set. About 10 metres per club is normally what we work on. So if I hit my 5 iron 180, then I'll hit my 6 iron about 170, and so on and so forth all the way down. So as mentioned at the start of the video, our wedge play is probably 75% of our game we play inside 100 metres, so it's really important that we have the right set makeup there. Instead of carrying our driver, 3 wood, 5 wood, 2 or 3 hybrids, 5 iron to sand iron, and missing that gap, you're probably more beneficial of getting your wedges fitted properly. We've got a bit of a few demos we did up here with Daniel and Troy. See the top one up here, Daniel started off with his 60 degree wedge, which went about 65 metres, and you can see the gaps here in his next one up is his sand iron, so it's 56 degrees wedge, that's going about 85, and then he goes up to his gap wedge, which is his 51, I think it is, 51 degrees. He hits about 100, roughly about just over 100 metres. And then he's got his pitching wedge, which is 47 degrees loft. He hits about 110. So there's a pretty good gapping there for Daniel, and he's got all those yardages covered nicely. If he wasn't to have his gap wedge, he's got the 85 down to 110 gap, which was like I mentioned with my game. So that's really important. And the bottom one here, we've got a little display here on the flight scope. When we're fitting someone for wedges, is another way we can do it. You can see the different patterns of lob wedge here, sand wedge here, this is Troy's, gap wedge here, and his pitching wedge. So a good utilising those 4 different wedges going those 4 different distances is very crucial. So we'll just go back over to here we go. Here's another chart here that Troy's done for himself. He hits a lob wedge 44, sand wedge 62, gap wedge 79, and pitching wedge 98. So they're all just averaged out. So that's quite useful when we're trying to fit for a pitching wedge. Here at MVP, we'll use this quite a bit to make sure we get the right gaps, not only just in wedges, but throughout your whole set. You know, whether you need a hybrid versus a 4 iron or etc. etc. But as mentioned earlier, 75% of our game is played inside that 100 metres, 110 metres, so really important you get that all right. So if any of you guys are interested in wanting to fix your wedge game or lowering your scores, come and book a session at MVP and we can straighten that out for you.